President Biden saying that officials are now investigating whether there is a link between the deadly terror attack in New Orleans and the Tesla Cybertruck explosion that happened outside of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. This is some new video of that explosion. You see it there outside the Trump Hotel. The driver of that vehicle was killed, 7 others were injured, and we now know that that Cybertruck was rented in Colorado.
We are learning from our John Miller that according to multiple law enforcement officers, this person who died in this attack, the driver of the Cybertruck, has a military background. Now, authorities say they do know the name of this driver, but they are not releasing this person's identity until they notify the next of kin. But they did say that this person rented the Cybertruck in Colorado via Turo, drove the Cybertruck down to Las Vegas, and was in Vegas for about an hour before it pulled in front of Trump Tower in the valet area when that explosion happened. We were able to see video that they released that shows the explosives that were contained inside. Right there you can see the Tesla bed, the Cybertruck bed, and some of those explosives included fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel, and all of that was connected to a detonation device that was controlled by the driver. Now, what's incredible that the sheriff pointed out is that the explosion was really contained to the Cybertruck because of the way that the Cybertruck is built. Apparently, the explosion went upwards, not outward, and so none of the glass at the Trump Tower was broken. 7 people were injured with minor injuries, but all of them are okay and they have been released from the hospital. Now, Las Vegas police believe this was an isolated incident. They are not willing to say at this point that it is connected to the New Orleans incident, but they are investigating. And it is unusual that both drivers did use the Turo app to rent those cars. So obviously this is part of the investigation. We did really receive a statement from Turo tonight that says they're cooperating. They also said that neither of the drivers had a criminal background that would alert them as a security threat. Brianna?
Yeah, lots of questions here. Veronica, thank you for that. With us now, former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. We have former Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security Juliette Kayyem and former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis with us. Andy, you have President Biden confirming tonight officials are investigating whether there's a link between these 2 attacks. So we've talked about some of the similarities. What are the things you're looking at that could point in that direction?
Well, so far, Brianna, we have 2 not necessarily relevant similarities, right? We know they both went to the same rental car agency, essentially this online service that facilitates private citizens leasing their own or renting their own cars to people. So they both use that same service. And we know that they both have military backgrounds. But again, these are things that could easily have been coincidence. That's not to say that these 2 events are not related. They wouldn't be investigating that very question if they thought it was something that wasn't possible. And if it turns out, and again, this is a big if because we don't know that at this point, but if it turns out that these 2 individuals knew each other, then we have a very significant issue on our hands here. That points to a conspiracy, coordinated effort that spans a large area, right? 2 very different states. We know the Las Vegas attacker started in Colorado, drove to Las Vegas and detonated that truck there, whereas the New Orleans attacker started in Houston and ended up, of course, in New Orleans to commit his attack. So connecting these 2 would be highly significant, but we are not quite on the verge of doing that at this point. We need a lot more detail to figure out if there are actually any interactions between these 2 people. Law enforcement has many resources, intelligence resources, law enforcement resources at their disposal that they can push against to see if there are any indicators that. I'm sure they're doing exactly that tonight.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting together tonight, in case anybody hasn't heard, we all know what happened on New Year's Eve with a deranged lunatic, okay, that decided to take it upon himself and rent the truck, drive out to New Orleans, and basically commit an act of terror that left. Right now, I think the death count is 15 people, and I believe it's 14 adults and 1 child. If I got it right, I don't know. But there are many people still in the hospital. Okay. On top of that, the news has been buzzing because there was another guy, okay, that rented a vehicle, went out to Trump Tower in Vegas, decided to. The story is, everybody's seen that the car exploded, but the story goes that it looks like he set a timer and then he killed himself before the truck exploded. Okay, so those are 2 stories. Now, I've been noticing that there are a couple of other stories that nobody's really talking about, okay, that everybody's going to find pretty fascinating. So I want everybody to stick with me. This is going to be somewhat of a lengthy video. If you guys know my content, if you bear with me, you'll see how, I put this stuff together, and we're going to get more answers than what we'll probably get more answers than what the news is putting out right now at this moment. Okay, everybody knows me. I think way outside the box, and when it comes to what's going on in this country, there is no time to put anything past anybody, and there is no time to not look at this as a conspiracy. You heard it for yourself. So if any of you lefties are watching it, this is your boy Andrew McCabe. If anybody remembers him, I'm sure you do. Even he's saying that if this is something that's connected, and by all intents and purposes, from what I'm seeing, it seems like it's connected. It's just a matter of time before they figure that out. But he is right. This is a conspiracy. Okay? Who's behind it? What's the final outcome? How much more is there going to be? We don't know. But there's a couple of other things, all right, to all this, that instead of, because I've been doing my research, and all the leftist mainstream social media goons, okay, are trying to spin this in the most ridiculous way. And this is why I say that a lot of them, okay, if not all of them, they don't care about human life. Now, I'm not putting this video out to get anybody upset, to keep up this hate, this rhetoric of hate. But it's just that if you're going to call out one side, you got to call out both sides. You got to call all this out, because innocent people are dead. Okay? And last I checked, in all honesty, because I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Bourbon Street, it is a mixture of diverse people that hang out there from all over the world, all over the United States, all over the world. Okay? What happened in New Orleans, the people that fell victim, they had no part in this. Okay? Nobody knows where they stood in life. But one thing's for sure, okay? The guy that did this obviously got radicalized because he was an ISIS sympathizer. Plain and simple. He was a terrorist sympathizer. And he went and he acted out an act of terror on American soil, on Americans, and God only knows who, until they start releasing names and where these people are from. They could be from anywhere, on the planet. They were visiting, they were vacationing, anywhere in the country. Okay? But I'm going to digress on that for now. Okay, so you heard what this woman said about that Joe Biden says that there's no connection. This was footage put out yesterday, about 22 hours ago. So yesterday, almost a full day. Okay? A lot of things have changed, because a lot more information has come out. Okay? Now, like I said, bear with me. This one's going to be lengthy. I'm going to show a few clips. Okay? I'm going to point out a few things that it's not so much for the mainstream media for them to know, because they know. It's not so much to show people on the right all this carnage, because I'm sure everybody's eyes are glued to the TV. It's more or less, like I said, to show the goons on the left that have their social media accounts that are trying to use one incident, okay, and only focus on that one incident, and they're totally ignoring all this that has happened between Vegas and New Orleans and a couple of other places that they're not really talking about on the news, but it's out there and it's current. Okay? So you guys know me. I find the Easter eggs, or I give out the Easter eggs, and you guys got to go find it. Okay? But I'm going to show you guys a couple of things, and one thing in particular that really burns my ass about all this, and I'll point that out as we go. But with that being said, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. And people, seriously, okay? I know that right now there's a lot more people whose hearts are hurting because of this. People really need to start praying. Like, we seriously need to put a hold on this. And like I said, all you leftist content creators that are spinning this a different way, you need to slow it down. Okay? Because the victims of New Orleans, like I said, nobody knows where they stand. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been people on the right all of a sudden jumping the gun, saying that the guy was an illegal immigrant. Okay? Which he's not. So the left is using that, trying to point fingers, saying, oh, you see, all you Republicans think about that everybody's an immigrant. Everybody's an immigrant. That is true. Okay? If a lot of people think like that, that's fine. I'll give you that much. But here's the thing. Okay? Here's the thing. If one thing's for certain, that man who did this in New Orleans, okay, totally betrayed his country. He betrayed his country. It didn't matter where that man stood. He betrayed his country. He became an existential threat to American people on American soil. That much is true. So all this back and forth talking about that, oh, well, these Republicans think that he came from over the border, whatever. All that came out in the beginning. Everybody just talking a lot of shit. But now the truth is coming out. But now those same people are trying to spin it around, and there's crickets, and they're trying to focus on another story, which I'm going to show you, okay? Which basically, if you really think about it, it all spins around and goes right back, okay, to who's in power. And I know a lot of you lefties don't want to hear that. But right now, the way everything stands, with the information that I'm going to show, okay, you may think that you have one up on the Republicans, but right now you're batting about 0-3, 0-4 with the information that I'm going to show. So with that being said, let's get to the next video clip. Here we go.
I just think we have to get right into it, and that's the New Orleans Bourbon Street attack. At least 10 dead, 30 injured after driver plows into New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Rob, is it 10 or is it 11 now? Can you
It's
double?
15. Yeah, it's up to 16, I believe.
Is it 16 now? Okay, so is it really 16 now, Rob?
It was 15 last night. I saw it multiple
Can
news
you check to
sources
see
around
what the
midnight.
death toll is now? I thought it was higher than that. 15. Okay, death toll. Let's open that one up, Rob, if you could. So death toll rises to 15 in New Orleans, terrorism attack. The suspect in the deadly attack that killed 15 people and injured dozens of others has been identified by the FBI. Let me read a little bit more to see if we have any other facts on this one here. 35 injured. This happened, a truck rammed into crowds on Bourbon Street at 3:15 a.m., followed by a gunfight with police. The driver described as hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. According to Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, was killed by officers. The FBI, which is investigating the incident as an act of terrorism, at first they didn't want to say it, but they eventually said it, revealed that at least one suspected improvised explosive device was found at the scene, although its connection to the driver remains unconfirmed. Witness Jimmy Cothran described seeing 8 bodies sprawled out on the street, adding...
Okay, now fair warning, what he's going to describe here, okay? But one thing real quick, okay? Two things I should say, okay? You heard in the first news clip, okay, that supposedly the Vegas sheriff or whoever's in charge said that they are not calling what the driver did in front of Trump Tower an act of terror. Okay, you just heard PBD say the same thing, that's what they said in New Orleans, and it's true. He's going to show it that's what the I guess the FBI agent in charge said. They're not calling it an act of terror, but then she backtracked and they called it an act of terror. In Vegas, they are not trying to call it an act of terror, what that man did. They are adamant that they will not do that. When I seen that, it was reminiscent to the shooting, okay, at the casinos, if anybody remembers, in Vegas, okay, that when all that carnage was going on, that the police chief, whoever was that was involved, was trying to tell everybody that don't believe your lying ears and eyes on TV. Don't listen to social media. This is not an act of terror. Yada, 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 yada. Okay? And if anybody really does their research, which it has nothing to do with it, but I'm just saying it's kind of a goonish way of the way they run things in Vegas. If anybody remembers who was there at the time, it was the same chief of police, okay, that was at the fires in Maui and Lahaina. And they were very adamant on not labeling something what it actually was, and they're doing it again in Vegas. Okay? But keep that in mind, what I'm saying, because Vegas doesn't want to call it an act of terror. In New Orleans, at first, they didn't. They said it wasn't. Now they backtrack, and now they're saying that it is. Obviously, it is because of what's going on. And by right, they should call it that, because that's what they did. Regardless if it's a homegrown, like they say, a homegrown terrorist or whatever the case is. And I bring that up because doing research, like I said, there are a lot of people on the left, mainstream media and social media, that are trying to spin this around as if, you know what, everybody on the right's a conspiracy theorist. This has nothing to do with the left, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, they're trying to skirt away from all the details, for as horrible as they are, and they're trying to use, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, they're trying to use a softball story. I'm just going to call it a softball story. It's not softball, but I'm just saying, okay, apples to oranges, and you'll see what I'm talking about, making it seem as if that story is way more horrendous, okay, than what happened in New Orleans and in Vegas. And I'll point that out. But I just wanted to bring that up. Let's continue. Fair warning, what he's going to describe right now.
Dead right in front of us was someone's mother, twisted, obviously deceased. One man deceased had tire tracks across his back and stomach and was clearly crushed. A little girl, oh my God, a little girl that we had seen dancing was as flat as a pillow. That's even tough to read. Oh my goodness. And a ton has come out on this individual. Even one of the stories that came out on the addendum, Rob, if you want to play that clip on the New York Post site, FBI confirms terror suspect Shamsud Dean Jabraz flying ISIS flag. Is that it, Rob, that he's flying the ISIS flag?
So this is the clip of the truck. I have it before it goes into the crowd if you want to show
Yeah,
it.
show it
And then I
before it
also
goes into the
have
crowd.
other B-roll of the truck as well.
Okay, let's see some B-roll here.
So this is
That's 3:15 a.m.
This is just traffic on the
Yeah.
side street.
and he's gonna take a right here.
Now let me ask
shortly.
you a question. What camera is so focused on that truck?
That's a very
Exactly. These are one of the many things a lot of people are not talking about. This one film in particular is following the vehicle. Whoever's recording it is following the vehicle, and PBD makes a good point. What camera, with all the traffic, all the people, what camera is following the truck? And all the way to the point where the guy makes a right turn and starts barreling down the road, killing people. And this is something that people need to understand. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. This is not something that some guy got up and decided to do. What is going on right now are coordinated, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, okay? I put it out there. If you people agree with me, fine. If you don't, you have your own opinion. Leave it in the comments. Just be careful what you say, okay? Fair warning. We all know what I'm talking about, okay? But nobody gets up to do all this, and just by coincidence, okay, somebody is out there recording this, watching that vehicle. There needs to be an investigation. PBD is going to point it out. Watch.
Why is that camera following it? Why does the camera know to follow the white truck?
But see that's the barricade right there, PBD. Now watch what he does. He stops, and then he takes his hard right, and then boom, he's going. And now he's going.
I can't even look at that, man.
No, and now he's gone.
In front of
He's going 80
cops.
miles an hour down.
In front of cops. That's a cop car. He went right to the corner where everybody's hanging out, went slow, hung a hard right, and just started slamming people down that street. I'm sorry for the words I'm using, okay? But, I mean, what other way is there to describe it? I'm so sick and tired of everybody saying, oh, he's unaliving people. People, we need to call this shit out for what it is. This man went on a killing spree. He went on a rampage. He did it in front of cops. He did not care. Why should we care to sugarcoat what this monster did? Okay? You know, sometimes in order to wake up the masses, you have to describe to them in detail what the hell is going on. What this man did, okay, only someone with a lost soul, or no soul for that matter, can do. Okay, but I just want to throw that in. Getting back to what PBD is saying about the camera. How, why, and how, out of all the cameras that are down in New Orleans and Bourbon Street and all over the place to watch everyone, how did this one camera focus on him? Now, I don't know if there's a correlation, but something popped in my head about a documentary I seen, okay, last year. And in the documentary, it was saying that one of the trademarks, okay, now, one doesn't have to do with the other, but you never know. They might have something in common. One of the trademarks for Hamas is that they like to record the carnage that they do. Okay? Now, I know they're saying that this man was an ISIS sympathizer. Hamas is, you know, separate, whatever. But it makes you wonder. Is it really something that only Hamas does? Or is this something that people that are connected to terror links like to do so they can show, all right, to the rest of the masses and say so-and-so did his job, he's a martyr. You see what I'm saying? You got to think outside the damn box. Let's continue.
Narrow street, and now they all know that.
But let me ask you, why, Tom, why does the camera know to follow that?
I'd like to
Exactly.
know whose footage this is. That's what I'd really like to know. If they edited down into a square for us, maybe a security camera from across the street, or who is taking this and knows to take this? Or is this multiple...
Because you know the Ring cameras, like you know those cameras
Yeah.
that people are out there, or even the PZT cameras. Are the PZT cameras able for you to track something after the event? No, right?
Right. I don't know why it would, because there's multiple vehicles moving in the traffic on that street.
That's interesting. So
And
what is
that
this?
These are now the cameras that are outside of establishments, like, you know, watching your door. Or
And this
whatever.
is where he's driving 80 miles an hour and the people get out the way?
People, everybody gets out of the way in this video, but yeah, you just want to see how quick.
Look
he's
at-
Go
going
ahead,
down
go
the
ahead,
street.
Rob.
Look at, oh my goodness, bro. Oh my God.
And see, that camera doesn't move, so that's an external security camera.
Have you spent any time on Bourbon Street? Have you guys
course.
ever
Of
been there?
course, of course.
Many times.
You know, I was there less than a year ago with Deli. We were filming on this exact street. And then that's just on a random day throughout the year. On New Year's, do you know how many people are out there reveling, having a great time? And this is what comes out of absolute nowhere.
And by the way, more people would have been killed further down the street and nobody's pointing out, he struck a construction bucket loader.
Thank
And that was the end of the
this is it. Well, this is it right here, Pat.
Yeah.
This is the shootout.
And we're not going to play the video because I don't want to put that out there, but we will play the audio so you can hear. This is as soon as he gets out of the vehicle, then you can hear the gunshots ringing out and people fleeing.
Go for it. So he's getting out?
Yeah. And those are him, because he got out. He had a gun. He had 2 guns, and he had devices on him. But as soon as he got out, they started shooting at him.
So do you have the clip of President Biden saying that the New Orleans attacker who killed 15 was inspired by Islamic State group? Do you have that clip?
Yes,
Go
sir.
for it.
Also reported to me that mere hours before the attack,
Hours.
he posted videos on social media indicating that he's inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possibly.
Do you have the clip?
Okay, now I'm going to pause it and jump in again. You know, when Trump was president, okay, thank God he's president again, but when he was president the first time around, he all but eradicated ISIS. Okay? Bragged about it, and rightly so. You didn't hear about stuff like this. Okay? While there's some incidents of certain things going on, yes, but not on this, nowhere near this magnitude. Okay? And it's funny how everybody on the left keeps saying that Biden was like the best president, or still is the best president this country's ever had, and only on his watch has all this carnage happened. And I say that, and I know you lefties are going to get upset and say, how are you going to blame one deranged person on Biden? Because there's a certain content creator out there who actually contradicted himself today on a second video, who came out and blamed that the guy that went in front of Trump Tower in Vegas, okay, because he showed up in a Tesla, okay, blew it up in front of Trump Tower. He basically blamed it on Trump and Elon Musk, saying, because of them, this is what we're going to have in it coming in 2025. So, what are we saying here? Are we pulling the double standard card now? Because I'll be the first one to say it. The guy in Vegas, a lunatic. The guy in New Orleans, a lunatic. But there's more, because I'm going to show it, because a lot of people are not talking about it. But one of them is, but they're both, it's weird, because there's 2 of them that now all of a sudden they're popping up. But they're trying to use it, the left is trying to use it as a one-up card. Like, I have an ace card. You see, you guys are more worse than us. But that's not the case. Okay? And I'm going to get to that, but that's not the case. It all falls on Biden and his administration. And I say that because he's in charge right now of the FBI, of the DOJ, of the CIA. He's in charge of all these groups that are supposed to keep this country safe from all threats, foreign and domestic. Even men in the military, American-born men, American-born women who are in our United States military, who have changed their ideology from being American to being terrorist sympathizers, and they went under the radar, not because they fooled you, because you let them. You knew about them, and you let them. Once again, on Biden's watch, people that they had under the radar, they admitted that they were watching them. They knew all this information about these guys, but it's too late. The damage is done. You didn't go and stop them knowing that they might be a potential threat. You let them go. But there are still people in the gulags of Washington, D.C., okay, that went nowhere near inside the Capitol, and because you deemed them a potential threat, they're rotting in a jail cell. This is why all this falls on Biden, whether you lefties want to believe it or not, or eat it, whatever the hell it is you want to do with it, it doesn't matter. It falls on you. What happened in Vegas at Trump Tower, If you want to come out and say, because that guy hated Trump and Elon, fine. I'll give you that much. But it goes beyond that. Okay? Because both men are military. Well, one was the one in Vegas, it was active military. This guy in New Orleans was retired or whatever the case is. Okay? They both rented vehicles from the same place. Okay, or using the same app. They both went to Fort Bragg. Supposedly they both served together. Okay? They both had explosives. And for some odd reason, something snapped in both their heads to carry out these two acts of terror. But it's funny how Biden says that this man earlier, weeks ahead or whatever the hell he's saying, okay, wanted to do this. How do you know that? Did you find all that out within 24 hours? It's possible. Or did you know? And I don't know. You guys fill in the blank. Let's continue.
Of him saying the things? Of what he's going to be doing? Like actual...
I don't know if they let them post that.
I've not seen that. I've seen multiple news sources talking about it, but I could not find the clip.
The only video that they have released is the video of him talking about being a realtor.
But this is years ago.
Yes, 2021.
And this, by the way, this guy was a former vet. I think he was stationed at the 82nd, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to play the clip, go for it.
He served in Afghanistan.
I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I...
You can pause that.
But here's my question, though.
Yeah.
Seems like a rational business guy at this chapter of his life.
The president of the United States, who's obviously asleep behind the wheel, said on camera the FBI knew about this guy hours before ISIS and all that stuff. Where was the manhunt? Where was the, letting everybody know, giving everybody a heads up? It's like, what is the, like, how many times are we gonna have a conversation, Tom, where we're like, the FBI or all these people keep dropping the ball? If it's not about...
Exactly. That's their excuse every single time. Nearly every incident that has happened under Biden's watch, it comes out that the FBI knew. Whether it was a day before, a week before, a couple of hours before, it's like, if you knew, why didn't you do something about it? Why is it always after the fact that blood is shed that you have to come out and say, oh yeah, that's right, we did know, but what? But what? What's the excuse for these incidents happening? It reminds me of when Obama was president, people. I don't know if anybody remembers. Okay. There used to be a big joke saying that Obama gets his information from the news, not from his cabinet. Because every time there was an incident that happened, every time there was some sort of scandal, whenever they would ask Obama anything about it, he would usually come out and say, this is my first time hearing it. Or, yes, I did hear about it. Where did you hear about it? Was it somebody in your cabinet? No, I was reading the paper or I was watching the news. Then it got to the point, it was like, does anybody tell you anything? Is there anybody in your cabinet that's giving you information? Or is it just what they call plausible deniability? Think about that. Okay? And now here we are again. And why? Is this how we're supposed to start the new year? With just carnage? Or is it something else? Okay? You don't hear about it that much anymore, but months ago, even up until last year, there was a lot of rumors going around that a certain type of bird was going to be flying around in the midst of America at a certain point, if anybody gets my meaning. I wonder if that's what's going on. Because like I said, it wasn't just this that happened in New Orleans. Okay? And what happened in Vegas. We're going to get right back to this video, because this is very good, the stuff that they put out, because there's a lot more here for me to unravel that I have to point out a couple of things. But I want to show you quickly another video that a lot of people on the left, or actually two short videos, that a lot of people on the left are trying to go on to make it seem that this has more to do, okay, with the conspiracy coming from the right than anything else. But once again, you drop the ball. It's not falling in your favor, and I'll point out why. Here we go. Okay, so now this video clip I'm going to show you is a video clip that they put out about 12 hours ago that people on the left are trying to use. In other words, trying to use it as a you see, all you Trump supporters are crazy. Okay? I'm going to play it. It's only 1:04, but it's funny that they're putting out this video clip in the news now, and you'll see why I'm saying that. Check this out.
Man is behind bars after the FBI says they caught him with hundreds of explosives. The FBI says 36-year-old Brad Kenneth Spafford had more than 150 explosive devices, saying this is one of the largest collections of explosives seized by the FBI in history. Authorities arrested the Isle of Wight County man 2 weeks ago on December 17th. Listen to this. Court documents say Spafford first landed on the FBI's radar in January 2023 after a neighbor reported Spafford lost 3 fingers on his right hand while working on a homemade explosive device. The neighbor said Spafford was also stockpiling weapons and homemade ammunition. Documents say investigators found highly explosive bomb-making materials in Spafford's freezer and pipe bombs in a bedroom stored in a backpack that said "No Lives Matter." Investigators say they also found an unregistered short barrel rifle and a book with recipes detailing how to make grenades. Spafford is at Western Tidewater Regional Jail facing gun charges.
Okay, sorry about that quick stop. Okay, so a lot of people on the left, especially content creators, are trying to use this incident because supposedly the man was using a Biden and Harris picture as target practice. So they're like, you see, you people on the right, you're crazy, okay? You're all about hate and all this other BS, right? But here's the thing. This is where you lose your argument, okay? Number one, okay? This man was arrested 2 weeks ago. This man was under the FBI radar since January of 2023. 2 years. Okay? The FBI knew what he was up to. They knew he was building explosives. He blew his fingers off. They knew, I should say, and they know that this man was up to no good. But this is where you lose your argument, since you want to try to use this one incident to throw it in the face and ignore what happened in New Orleans and in Vegas, because you people are good for that. You're good for that. Okay? You'll take this softball story, and I call it a softball story. You know why? Because one, he didn't kill nobody. Number two, he's an idiot. Okay? He nearly blew himself up. He's deranged in the head. That now, I believe is the Washington Post, is trying to put out, and if you don't believe me, go on Instagram and go under Tom McDonald's page on Instagram. He wrote a song called No Lives Matter, and I believe it's the Washington Post trying to say that this man is part of a far-right movement called No Lives Matter, okay? Making it seem like, you know what? This is part of a group that is after Democrats. Is there a group that's after Democrats like that? Is he part of a group like that? Or is it just one sick, deranged dude that said No Lives Matter, and he just had a beef with somebody on the left, or maybe many people on the left? But again, you lose that argument. You know why? Because your administration, your boy Biden's FBI agents had this man under the radar. But it's funny, okay, how another person they had under the radar that just went and committed carnage in New Orleans, that is a lefty, a Muslim terrorist sympathizer. It's funny how this story comes out on the news today, because I haven't heard about it 2 weeks ago when they arrested him. I sure as shit didn't hear about it in 2023. But it's funny how they're going to prop this up now. For what purpose? Oh, that's right. To steer away. To make it seem like, well, you know what? No, this is coming from both sides. But you arrested this guy. The guy's in prison. He's not a threat. Why are you bringing this up? You know why. It's to steer away from it. Okay? I got another video clip to show you. Here we go. This story came out about 10 hours ago. Okay? But you won't hear the leftist media talk about it, or the leftist content creators talk about it. Why? Oh, that's right. Because once again, it was one of their boys. Okay? But they won't talk about that. They find it more fitting to say that the guy that was arrested 2 weeks ago, that blew off his fingers, okay, that is like a big threat, and, you know, things are going bad. You try to stray away from what's happening in New Orleans. You try to say, they were saying, rumors going around that the guy that blew up the Tesla in front of Trump Towers was a Trump supporter. I don't know where they got that, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. The guy's a sick individual, and sadly, he chose a path, and he paid the consequences. But now check this out. What happened in Florida at South Florida APAC office?
Developing right now, a man has been arrested accused of planning an attack right here in South Florida.
He was reportedly targeting a pro-Israel group with offices in our area. Local 10's Leanne Morejon is live in Plantation with those details. Leanne.
Yeah, the FBI says that it foiled a plot by this person to hurt people at a local office of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Let's show you who we're talking about. This is Forrest Kendall Pemberton. He was arrested after allegedly driving down to our area from Alachua County searching for that APAC office, and he had several firearms with him. This is one of the locations he was scouting, a former APAC office location off of Pine Island Road in Plantation. Now, this is an old address for the organization's local offices, but he thought that this was it and came to this area, even rented a hotel nearby. Documents also show he was looking at a local IRS office, which is also not far from here. Now, these are some of the court documents that were filed on Monday. This man allegedly left a note with his family saying goodbye, and then came here to scout things out before coming back with weapons. Law enforcement found him on December 25th in a rideshare vehicle. He was carrying what investigators called a soft rifle case with him. And December 25th is notable because that also coincided with the first night of Hanukkah. Investigators asked him if he was planning a, quote, mass casualty event and then to take his own life. Here's what he told them according to those documents, quote, I really don't know if I was going to end it with my life or not. I hadn't gotten that far yet. It entirely depended if I ended up getting caught or not. If caught, that was a way out. Later in those documents, it explains why investigators believe that Pemberton chose that APAC location because of, quote, its political influence and its relative location. Pemberton stated his motivation for taking this action was frustration with the, quote, status quo and, quote, seeing if I could make a change. Pemberton faces FBI charges. The FBI says that he was arrested on federal stalking charges, and he does have a hearing in Alachua County in front of a federal judge on Monday. For now.
Okay. You all seen that and heard that. But yet you won't see the leftist content creators talking about this one story. Now, I'll take back and say that, you know what? He was one of you guys. I'll take that back. We'll wait and see. Okay? But why not this story? Why the story of the guy that said no lives matter? Why the story of the guy in front of the Vegas, in front of Trump Tower in Vegas? But crickets about this story, and by all intents and purposes, by me doing research, you guys are barely touching what happened in New Orleans. Why? Because the way I see it, I see 4 sick individuals from this country that wanted to go out there and hurt innocent people. And one of them did. But you people don't see it like that. Now, like I said, listen, I'm not making this video to make people hate each other or anything like that. I put my content out like I always do. Okay? To spread awareness and expose it. You people, on the other hand, many of you people on the other hand, on the other side, you want a cause and effect that benefits you, and it always deals with just pushing out this damn hate and rhetoric. And it's like, when do we meet common ground? If not for, like I said before, if not for the children, if not for these innocent people in New Orleans, if not for the people in Hawaii, if not for the people in the Carolinas, when the hell are you people going to stop your bullshit and making it seem, okay, that all this carnage is only coming from one side? But every time we look, it's coming from your side. So we got one person that you say supposedly is on our side, and yet you got 3 on your side, and nope, can't do it. Can't touch it. So we got 4 people, okay, that are all deranged in the head. You want to spin it all around. That's why I said, but if you look at all this the FBI knew about. Who is in charge of the FBI right now for the past 4 years? Biden. You are 0-4 on all of this. Okay? Because if it was Trump, you'd be saying that Trump dropped the ball. Now, let's get back to the video of PBD. I hope I said that right. Okay? Because there's things in that video that I want to point out also. So I hope you guys are still with me. Like I said, this is going to be a lengthy one. Here we go.
About DEI seminars or Donald Trump, it seems as if nobody's working. That's my opinion. And then you're going to see the FBI chick in New Orleans talking about this isn't a terror attack. Did you see this? And look what's right underneath her. New Orleans dealing with the terrorist attack, and this is what the FBI says.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found. And we are working on confirming if it's a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street,
Why does she sound
specifically
so
from
nervous?
Canal Street to St. Anne.
Is she reading?
That is my ask.
Is that a
Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on.
Okay, so let me read this about her, about the killer. Jabbar served in the army from 07 to 15, including the deployment in Afghanistan. Okay, and then later he joined the reserves till 2020. He posted videos referencing the Quran and claimed in 2020 YouTube video for his real estate business that the military taught him the meaning of great service. However, financial struggles, 2 divorces, okay, child support disputes, $16,000 in debt, left him in hardship. And his first wife was suing him for child support payment that he claims he was behind on. I think the number was $28,000 on whatever the number was. And then his business hadn't made any money this year, and he was struggling financially. But what I'm trying to find out is, this is his. How recent is this picture, Rob? Do we know? Because I saw this picture everywhere.
I think that's his passport picture.
It doesn't say here in this photo.
I'm pretty sure it's his passport.
Tom, what else do we know about this story?
This is a more recent
Well,
photo.
that what you just said is what I saw. And so at the same time where we had talked about that, you and I wanted the story 2 weeks ago, we want to know what happened in those missing 90 days for the gentleman that shot the CEO of United Healthcare, that there was this missing 90 days. What was going on in there?
Right.
Who was in his ear? What was happening? The same thing. I've read exactly what you read, and so I've made a little timeline of it And so for the last 6 months, it appears that it's been high stress. He was in court on the child support hearing, like, where's the money, what's going on? The divorces were there. There was an alleged email that was circulated, I believe, by law enforcement that said that he sent to his ex-wife, look, I got to sell this house or I got to do this because, you got to be reasonable. So he was under great mental stress for the last 6 months should we say mental stress, financial stress. And did that lead him? So when people are under great financial stress and they feel hopelessness, sometimes they go off and commit suicide because life is so hopeless and everything that's going on. And did he get caught up with some people that got in his ear and were able to manipulate him, and to the point that he admires ISIS, and basically what he did this night was commit suicide? I read something further that said, was the reason that he didn't set off the explosive devices is because he hit the construction equipment. Like, was his desire to get to the end of the street and then set off those devices. So we don't know what his plan was for the end of the street. We only know that he hit the construction equipment that brought the speeding truck to a halt, and then he got out and started shooting, and they found the coolers with these devices. So I want to know who was in his ear, what was happening there, but he obviously became sympathetic toward ISIS and was under a great deal of financial stress. Did he break, lose it, and find, some sort of affinity with ISIS, and then decided to take him out in this way?
So the comparison between him and the other fellow who did what he did with the Tesla, they both rented their cars from the same company, Toro, right? I think it's called Toro, if I'm saying it correctly.
That's correctly.
Toro.
Yeah.
Okay. They both served in the same unit, which that doesn't mean anything because that's the 82nd, Fort Bragg. It's a big unit.
Huge.
It's not like there could be coincidences there. But the timing of it, on what happened, you have to consider the timing of when it took place. The Tesla truck in front of Trump, there's even a picture of it. And I don't want to get into that story yet. We'll get into that. But all it is the link between the two stories that you have there. Vinny, what else do you have on this story?
Okay, before he continues, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents in this. Because the video I showed before with Biden saying that the guy who did this in New Orleans, there's supposedly they're going to investigate to see if there was a connection. You heard in the beginning that defunct FBI agent, okay, from the Biden administration say the same thing. About an hour or two ago, okay, Biden's coming out and saying that there is no connection now between those two men. All the coincidences are there, but there's no connection. Are we supposed to believe what the FBI is saying at this point in time? With everything that's happened? Everything, from the assassination attempt on Trump, the list just goes on and on and on. How do we believe them, especially when they're saying that they had them under their radar, but they didn't do anything, and outcomes happen. People have died. So we're supposed to believe that there's no connection, that it's all coincidences. I'm sorry. I don't believe in coincidences like that. Okay? I just don't. A coincidence is you, get up one morning and you decide to go have breakfast at a diner. Okay? You're thinking about your friend you haven't seen in a couple of weeks. You go to a diner across town. You run into your friend and went there for breakfast too. That's a coincidence. Okay? What a coincidence you're here. I was thinking the same thing. But you got people with military backgrounds, okay? They're served in the same unit. That right there where it ends, that you could say that was a coincidence. But to rent 2 vehicles from the same place, to load their vehicles with explosives, to go and try to commit carnage, one of them got away with it, the other one took his life before it happened. I'm sorry. Okay? This is not a coincidence. Maybe it is. I just don't see it that way. Let's continue.
Ryan Ralph, also the guy that was at the golf course that was trying to shoot President Trump or trying to assassinate Trump, he visited Fort Bragg also 100 times. But it just, and Tom, it's all these coincidences. What makes someone who look...
Or, don't mean to cut it off again, and not trying to insult the military or anything like that, but is there something going on behind the scenes? I mean, we've all heard the stories, the way the military has been gutted out left and right. Okay? People that are going to do the bidding of certain administrations, they put them in. The ones that don't, they get rid of them. I mean, you have to put all this together and find out what's going on. Is it bigger than what anybody could imagine? That, I'd rather say, yes, it is. Okay? I mean, that sounds more plausible that there is something really big going on that nobody's going to be able to put their finger on it because it's just too big, okay, at the moment, I should say, for anybody to get a straight answer. But this whole thing about, oh, it's just a coincidence, like I said, I don't believe in it.
Look like a normal guy. He's making videos. He seems like the American guy, a veteran. What flips you like that? We always talk about what's in your ear, and it's like, look, they're at a military base, Tom, both of these guys, and we're going to get into that other story later. What makes somebody who is talking to these people, and it's not as if the government doesn't have programs to flip people, but it's like, what's the end goal? What is it for? What really pissed me off about this thing, apparently this guy's mosque,
Okay, now this is the part that really pissed me off. I'm gonna play it and then we'll end the video with this. But this is what pissed me off, and I definitely have to put my sense into this, my 2 cents into this, because I am so sick and tired, and I've mentioned it so many damn times on other videos. Okay, go back a little bit, pay attention.
They're at a military base, Tom, both of these guys, and we're gonna get into that other story later. What makes somebody who is talking to these people, and it's not as if the government doesn't have programs to flip people, but it's like, what's the end goal? What is it for? And what really pissed me off about this thing, apparently this guy's mosque, the mosque that in Houston, Texas, put out a letter saying, directing its members not to speak to authorities. Why wouldn't you want them to talk to authorities about somebody that's there? This is the letter right there, Pat. You want me to read this?
Yeah, go for it.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm sure many of you have heard about the tragic events that took place in New Orleans this morning that are now being classified as an act of terror, in quotes, by the FBI. I want to emphasize the importance that everyone stay very vigilant and aware of your surroundings. The safety of the community is the most important thing. If anyone is contacted by the media, it is very important that you do not respond. If approached by the FBI and a response is necessary, please refer to CIAR, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations, and ISGH. It is crucial that we stay united at this time. We condemn these terrible acts. Please stay safe. I mean, why?
Okay. That's what pisses me off right there. Okay? That pisses me off. Because what's going on in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine is horrific. We know this. Anybody with a brain knows that when it comes to war, there's going to be carnage. We know this. Okay? But why is it that every single time, and I challenge anybody, and I've said it before, and nobody, okay, nobody has been able to prove me wrong. Not anybody here in America, not anybody in Europe, nowhere, nobody has proven me wrong. Where are the protests from the Muslim community to go out in mass and protest against people like this man in New Orleans, okay, who is a sympathizer for a terrorist group? No, they put out statements and say our prayers go out with them, but yet every single time there's a shooting or something of the sort, what does the left say? Save your prayers. You people on the right, that's all you say. Save your prayers. We don't need your prayers. But it's okay when the Muslim community does the same thing, but they won't go out there and protest. But then people on the left get together and protest, disrupt people's holiday events. No matter what it is, they go and they protest it. en masse by the tens of thousands. But then somebody on their side, you got the mosque saying, don't do this, don't do that. He's saying don't cooperate. Let us cooperate. Basically, direct them to us. We'll answer all the questions. Imagine, just imagine, people. Okay? If a Christian organization or Catholic organization did something like that, put out a memo like this, there will be fire coming out the mouths of people on the left. And this is what pisses me off with the Muslim community. That when it's against them, anybody on the outside against them, they protest. Okay? When somebody on their side does something, they won't protest. They'll rather keep it quiet. We gotta stick together. You already wrote, maybe. Listen, if they're making all this up, the truth is gonna come out. Okay, so everybody can take this, what he's saying, with a grain of salt. But you know why I believe it? Because it's true. When was the last time anybody seen tens of thousands of Muslims, not the ones that are fighting for their freedom against like the Taliban or anybody else in other Muslim countries? I'm saying in the Western world, where are the tens of thousands of Muslims getting together whenever Muslims, the radical ones, go and hurt the non-Muslims? You don't see it. You won't see it. Because they will not protest against each other for anybody outside of their circle. But yet, you have everybody on the left worldwide taking their side and helping them protest. Where are, let's see, let's just do it like this. Where is Black Lives Matter now in New Orleans protesting what just happened? Where's the pro-Palestinian protesters en masse in New Orleans protesting against this? Nowhere. Where's Antifa? Nowhere. Can't make it up. Now listen, like I said, I'm not putting this video out for anybody to hate anybody, no. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're going to call it out, you got to call out both sides. It just seems like they're trying to spin this to not be an act of terrorism, to not be a conspiracy, because that's what it sounds like more and more, okay? To try to divert everybody away that, you know what? It sounds, in my opinion, like there is a coordinated effort that's going on, and certain people that have been under the radar are now coming to light. And this is only 4 instances, people. 4 incidents. Okay? I'm still, whatchamacallit, I'm still calling BS on the guy they arrested 2 weeks ago that blew his fingers off. Because you knew you had him 2 years ago, January of 2023. We are in January of 2025. Okay? But you let him go. And then you arrested him. But there was nothing on the news about it. And this is what I wanted to say about that. Did they arrest him to use him? In other words, did they arrest him so they can have him and say, you know what, there's going to be an incident, and when that happens, we're going to pull this one out the woodwork? Think about it. Or did it get so much exposure that they had to arrest him? But if they had him under the radar, why did they let him go? Why did they let him walk free if they knew that he was a threat? Was somebody hoping that he would have carried out his threat? Makes you wonder. But then they found, who knows, maybe they found something better and said, you know what, no, let's arrest him because something else is going to come. And when that crap hits the fan, then we could pull this one out the woodwork and be like, see, it's not just us. But like I said, at this moment, what's going on, the other team is 0-4. Because you dropped the ball 4 times, okay? All 4 individuals, basically 2 are dead, 2 are arrested. But you expect people to think that there's no coincidence in all this? Nothing? At all? And it makes you wonder. And I pray to God not. I pray that God puts his hands on this country and keeps anybody that has any diabolical thoughts to be stopped in their tracks like a freaking rock at the bottom of the ocean. Just drop in and just stop. Okay? Because obviously whoever's behind this doesn't care who gets hurt. Case in point. What this man did in New Orleans, he killed children, he killed men, he killed women, black, white, who knows? Who knows where they're from, what their religious affiliation is, what their political affiliation is. These people don't care, man. Okay? So you people on the left need to slow down with your rhetoric, making it seem that, you know what? This is a 1-for-1. Okay? This is not that they brought a knife to a gunfight, you bring a gun. No, that's not how it goes. Because innocent people are always the ones to suffer. Okay? Any one of these men that wanted to carry out these acts, they wanted to do it to hurt other people. Cowards. And whoever's behind them, whatever's in their head, whoever's eating them up inside, whatever the hell it is, it's not good. It doesn't serve the right or the left. But then again, depending on who you ask, I guess, right? And right now, the way it stands, I'm sorry. Okay? Once again, the Biden administration dropped the ball. The FBI dropped the ball. Innocent people are dead. Innocent people are dead. What a way to start the new year. And you talk so much about the rhetoric coming from the right, that Trump and his followers are the existential threats. Okay? You have yet to see 1,000 MAGA supporters out there burning down stores or anything like that. Everything that the left has done to commit crimes and harm, you try to project it on people on the right. And the people on the right are trying to tell you, you need to slow it down and stop vilifying us. We are not the ones doing this. You are upsetting people. And I will admit, there are some people on the right that are doing the same. We don't associate with those people. Okay? But all I keep hearing is that every Trump supporter is racist. Every MAGA supporter is racist. So what does that make you? Just curious. Does that make you terrorist sympathizers? I would hope not. I wouldn't even deem somebody like that. But look at these scales. You're deeming people racist, and yet you got people on your side going out there and killing people. Incredible. And I'm cutting this video short because I was going to go on some channels and start showing the comments that these channel subscribers are leaving. They're horrible comments. Meanwhile, me, as a content creator on my own channel, I get my comments deleted for replying in the cleanest way to one of my subscribers. I get my comments deleted, but all these leftist content creators, all their subscribers leave all these horrible freaking comments. And they're up there for weeks, if not months. No repercussions, no censorship, no nothing. And this is why I put out the video yesterday, okay? Or 2 days ago, it'll be when I drop this video. And I said what I said, because it's the truth. It's the truth. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. People, we need to start praying harder. Okay? I need to start praying harder. Okay? This cannot be the norm in America. This is not what we're all about. Okay? You leftists out there need to open your eyes and realize that, you know what? If you want to support your party, fine. Okay? But if you think that our party is hurting us, then guess what? You're looking in the mirror, because we're trying to tell you the same thing. If that's what you want to believe, we're trying to tell you, look at what your party is doing, not only to you, but to everybody else. And like I said, they don't care. And crazy people like these four men don't care even less. Because their lives are miserable, they want to go and hurt people. Innocent people that have nothing to do with their problems. But yeah, here we are. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for your enemies. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. And pray for the victims in New Orleans. Peace.